Hey guys, what's up? It's me, pictorial here, and today I have official confirmation for Six Flags Great America's 2016 ride removals in for the recent land cramps with Joker announced, and what I think might be next. Now, I apologize for the lack of uploads. I've just been I've been a bit stressed as of late. I've also been kind of busy, haven't really found a lot of time. Also, my mother's been homesick, so I've been she has a pretty bad head cold, maybe pneumonia. I don't know. She just told me a head cold. But my mother has a pretty bad head cold, as she calls it. So I've kind of been helping her around the house with that. So I mean, she's getting better. All it is just a cough now, maybe a little bit of a headache, but that's it. But yeah, just all that. And I want to give a little bit of background. I visited Six Flags Great America on October 2nd, 2016, 1 week ago from when the video was uploaded. And I got some official confirmation of what flat rides will be jiggling around. And let me just say, the rumors are true. The rumors are true. That is what's going on. So let's see what the rumors actually are. What was removed? Well, they're trying to fit Joker in the park, right by Batman the Ride. And they jiggled around, removed 2 flat rides, and relocated a 3rd one within the park. The first 2 rides, the Orbit, their Schwarzkopf Enterprise, and Jester's Wild Ride, their Zamperla Rock and Tug, similar to those tugboat rides you see in kiddie areas, were both removed. As you can tell from the tombstones and the even pictures, the odd pictures are actual what the ride looked like. The Orbit was around since the park's opening, and was open for 20 or 40 years. And Jester's Wild Ride was open with the addition of Mardi Gras in 2004, and it died after 12 years. And you're wondering, okay, they're not going to fit half a roller coaster in Jester's Wild Ride and half a coaster in Orbit Spot and then just telekinetically hold the 2 parts together. No. They're relocating East River Crawler, their Schwarzkopf Monster 3 attraction, to the former spot of the Orbit, and it will be renamed the Lobster. Now, East River Crawler was right by Batman's first corkscrew, right by the picnic grove, and now it's going to be relocated to the former spot of the Orbit, pretty close to Demon's entrance and the gates between Southwest Territory and Hometown Square. So, yeah, that's currently what's going on there, and Jester's Wild Ride's gone entirely. Never relocated in entire its life. I mean, some people have said that it might relocate to another spot of the park. I highly doubt it, considering there's a tombstone. I mean, unless they're getting another Rock and Tug, but I highly doubt that they're going to relocate something that seems exclusively only fit for Mardi Gras. And also, Jester's Wild Ride never brought in crowds. This thing was almost dead the entire time. I mean, it was kind of a bad flat ride because it was very creepy as well. Like, Jester's face is everywhere. You couldn't escape it. Even if you closed your eyes, you couldn't escape it. It's just haunting. So, yeah. What's next? Well, I have a few pictures right below because I had no room on the other slide for other pictures, considering that I took these myself, except for the Orbit and Jester's Wild Ride off-ride pictures. Those are not mine. But the tombstones and this construction, they're mine. They're my photos. How did I do with my photography? Do you think I should start taking more? Yada, yada, yada. Basically, we have there's confirmation of the Lobster, Return of the Lobster, 2017. Return is a very important word because East River Crawler used to be called the Lobster before it was rethemed to East River Crawler for Batman the Rides edition. Because I think East River Crawler is like a Batman villain, maybe? I don't know. And then I have a couple construction photos. There's construction going on at the former station of Raging Cajun, or the former spot and footprint of Raging Cajun. My guess is that's where the queue is going to go. And then we have pictures, or a picture, of East River Crawler being dismantled with a "Please Pardon Our Dust" sign. As of 10/2/2016, Jester's Wild Ride is still standing, but not operating. So, I mean, I feel like that's not a hard thing to move into storage or sell for scrap, put it on for auction or something. But, I mean, it probably would end up being removed. I wouldn't be surprised if Jester's Wild Ride gets relocated to like Six Flags America or something. I wouldn't be surprised at all because they have some space in their Mardi Gras area. So yeah, And also, I almost forgot to read the text on the slide. I'll be counting down in no particular order the 10 rides that are most in danger for removal in my opinion, and I have a bit of research behind these. I will have one coaster and 9 flat rides slash attractions to be removed. I will cover the unlucky coaster first and move on to flat rides. And when I reach the flat rides, I will be rotating around the park counterclockwise, starting at Carousel Plaza and ending at Orleans Place. Or Orleans Place, or whatever you want to call it. If you get rid of the new Orleans or Orleans or Orleans, it's kind of crapshoot in how to pronounce it. So, yeah. Demon. This is my unlucky coaster, because I personally and genuinely feel that it is the only coaster at danger at this park. Let's analyze. Manufacturer doesn't exist, and the replacement part manufacturer of Vekoma is transcending to another, they're trying to become more professional and not as bad. So, the ride's condition is also slowly fading. I mean, particularly on the lift hill. This thing has stopped at the top of the lift hill with a slow spot, as they call it, many times, even in front of me. I've even seen it stop more than once in a day. And they also put VR on it. Question is that a typical Six Flags move, or is that a plea to get more riders on the coaster? I mean, this one sticks out, like I said, because there are no other coasters in danger. Not even Wizard or Eagle. Eagle's good if they can retouch it, and it's still very popular. Wizard, it has an Ace Coaster Landmark Award, is very popular still. And the Coaster Landmark Award is a figurative contract for its continued maintenance and existence. Like it says on the plaque, can we please have Great America continue the preservation of this classic attraction? I know the management wants to tear it down deep in their minds because it's getting kind of hard to maintain. I've seen it break down quite a few times, but Wizard is not going anytime soon unless they want to betray Ace. So I'm pretty sure the Coaster Landmark Award is a contract for continued maintenance, preservation, existence, whatever you want to call it. And now we move on to the flat rides. The first one is the Pictorium. This theater has little use for the park anymore. I mean, they used to put movies on here. There are lots of movies when it's opened. But then again, now the only reason this thing is ever used is maybe they occasionally rerun Screams and Dreams, such as the bottom picture, which recaps the history of the park from like the opening all the way to Goliath or something, Goliath, X-Flight, some of those more recent coasters. Because the movies were made a while ago, but they're just rerunning them. And also, yeah, those movies don't draw in crowds. People don't go to Great America to watch a movie about the park history. I'd rather read an article on it and learn from my visualization. Sure, there might be footage and visuals, but it's probably a lot of interviews and technical stuff. Get my opinion out of here. Also, the only reason people actually come here anymore is that a local hypnotist contracted by Six Flags comes in every year for Fright Fest. And it just, I mean, sure, honestly, it might draw crowds. I mean, pretty sure people can be fascinated by a hypnotist. I've never actually seen what goes on in the show because I'm not usually at the park, in that area of the park at the time. I'm usually like halfway around the park, maybe. But, yeah. I mean, this building has been rumored for destruction for a while now. And they can easily just move the hypnotist to the Grand Theater before Love at First Fright plays later in the afternoon or in the evening, and they can just shut down the Pictorium altogether. Clears up a lot of land and gives for a further expansion of Carousel Plaza, because people just usually walk right past it. Or just, they look at the carousel, don't really ride it. They might ride the Skytrack Tower, assuming it's actually running. But yeah, that's definitely something. Daredevil Dive. We're jumping all the way to County Fair. I feel like Hometown Square, Hometown Park, and Southwest Territory are safe for the most part. I mean, if anything, it could be like a Games Corner or an arcade. If anything. Or maybe a restaurant. That can get swapped out. I don't know. As with most Sky Coasters Daredevil Dive, this one barely draws a crowd. I don't understand to this day why parks keep them. Maybe for a sporadic $15. But just the income doesn't match. Unless I'm missing every single ride on this, the income just doesn't match. the amount of people that actually goes on it. The income, I feel like, is less than the maintenance, if it really needs to be maintained a lot. I say this should be an industry-wide movement. Most amusement parks should participate. Take out their sky coasters, and they can have one big explosive year of attendance for them. People can get their last ride, maybe their only ride, and they can make more on one busy day than they can in an entire year. I mean, honestly, this can so easily become a flat ride if they so choose. Even this land actually was a flat ride before they put this in, but then they relocated the attraction to Southwest Territory. I'll get a little bit more in a future video, because I have something very special put up in the works. The next video will be part 6, I think, of my Countdown Bonanza. Yeah, next video will be part 6. Revolution. I mean, let's get the facts straight. Manufacturer is dead. Ride operates about half the time, maybe a little more. And Six Flags is rapidly installing Zamperla Giant Discoveries, aka superior versions of this one. This thing's a goner, in theory. I mean, this thing I would love to see go in replacement for another, like a giant frisbee, Zamperla Giant Discovery. Because this thing's pathetic, to be honest. I mean, sometimes it still draws a somewhat hefty crowd. But honestly, I feel like Zamperla Giant Discovery would be a much better for the park, honestly. So, yeah. I mean, this thing doesn't even go to 90-degree angles. Maybe it does, but you can't really feel it that well. It's pathetic, honestly. I don't care if they name the Zamperla Giant Discovery after a superhero, or rename it Revolution, or Revolution 2.0, the new Revolution. I can actually see them doing that. And, yeah, I don't care if they do that, this thing should be taken out, honestly. I'm passionate that this thing should not be here. When they're installing giant frisbees, because they're so much better. The entirety of Camp Cartoon. Six Flags is currently having license issues with Hanna-Barbera. The entirety of Camp Cartoon is based off of 4 Hanna-Barbera cartoons. Scooby-Doo, The Jetsons, Yogi Bear, and The Flintstones. As far as I'm concerned, they're all Hanna-Barbera. And now, the rides will either leave or be rethemed if the license is cut. I feel like most definitely Space Sprocket Rockets will be rethemed or relocated. Possibly the Mystery Machine, which is a Zamperla Crazy Bus, seen on the left side of the photo on the right. I mean, I could see that being rethemed, but the others are just so small and so cheap that they can easily be replaced. It probably costs less to replace it than to retheme it entirely. I don't even know if you can retheme those, because they're already so oddly shaped and painted. So, yeah. Also, Six Flags is far favoring the license of Looney Tunes and DC Comics right now. I mean, they're installing DC-themed attractions rapidly. I mean, 3 Jokers, 2 Wonder Woman Lasso of Truce, probably a Batman attraction, 2 to 3 Justice Leagues every year. I mean, DC is going nuts. And they occasionally install like a Bugs Bunny Boomtown, or Bugs Bunny National Park, or Bugs Bunny some sort of theme there. And that's probably, and Looney Tunes is all the costume characters there. All the mascots are Looney Tunes. It's the only thing you'll see there. Maybe sporadically Scooby-Doo, depending on the park, or maybe sporadically DC characters, but both of those are kind of rare. Also, when is the last time you heard a Hanna-Barbera attraction coming to a Six Flags park? Honestly, when's the last time? Yeah, that's right. Probably the Scooby-Doo Mystery Scary Swamp attractions back in like the 80s or 90s. Nothing since. Maybe these I think were late 90s. I really don't know. Loggers Run. Now, honestly, this is more of a possibility thing. I know these rides are still very popular, but both log flumes here take up an enormous amount of space. These things are just ridiculously a large amount of space. They can easily fit a large, or like an X-Lite size B&M in that area. They can easily fit one of those. Maybe a Superman X-Lite size B&M that can easily fit one of those in that area. Maybe even bigger. I mean, that's only if they get rid of both, though. I feel like Loggers Run is the less likely of the two to be torn out if either of them get torn out. But odds are, if they're going to tear these out, they're either going to go None or together. Tearing out one of them won't free up a lot of space. Might free up the queue line of the entrance, but not much else. But Loggers Run, my analysis is that it takes up space, a lot of space, can be easily used for a large coaster if they tear out both, and it does have decent reliability and attendance though. Unlike Yankee Clipper. This thing barely ever operates. The management, I feel like, deep inside prefers Logger Run to this. On really hot days, or like the middle of summer, like July, they'll run both of them. But this thing really they think it's the inferior version of Loggers Run. I personally think this thing is better than Loggers Run. I always would like to ride Yankee Clipper more than I like to ride Loggers Run. I know they're similar, but this thing has a single drop. Loggers Run is a double down, and you don't really get a lot of airtime on it. It just takes up a lot of water, a lot of space. Land is almost a pond. There's a lot of water floating around the pond-esque areas, but this thing, we've seen greater miracles for transforming desolate lands to amusement park space. Have you seen, King's Dominion's Lake Charles? They can put entire roller coasters using the water as supports. Sure, Lake Charles is now just evaporated almost entirely, but still. They've had bigger miracles with land like that. So yeah, Yankee Clipper. This thing is more likely to go if it was an individual thing, but I personally am still sold in the idea that if they're going to remove their log flume like most of the industry's favoring doing, they're either going to move them both or remove neither of them and not go with the trend. Winner's Go-Karts. Now this is a red alert one for me, to be honest. The go-karts here are rarely a hot sell. The evidence suggests that it's on its last leg. The attendance is low, and they just introduced an expansion to the season pass for allowing a limited go-karts rides. It seems like a plea to attract more people, considering that a pass costs about as much as 2 or 3 races. It takes a large amount of space as well. You could see on the picture on the right, that's its former location. Think that they were able to fit 2/3 of the Riptide Bay attraction in that space. 1/2 to 2/3 of Riptide Bay, the 2011 water park expansion. With a huge 4 to 5 foot depth worn pool, a flow rider, lily crossing, couple restaurants, changing rooms, deck chairs, and then maybe where Space Shuttle America once was. That's probably gonna be where, that's probably where the pavement is. That's probably gonna end up being where, say, the flume rides are, like Wipeout. Honestly, they could have easily spared the flat rides that were torn out this year, torn out the go-karts, and they would have enough room for the ride and the queue. It's not worth it. It's not worth anything to keep this ride. This ride is just waiting to be torn out. 2 more to go. The next one is King Chaos. The main reason this is here is because of lower operation rate. This season it was down from the opening day all the way to about mid-June. And they've had similar situations previous years. Sometimes they wouldn't even get it to Bloodbath for Fright Fest because it's just having so many problems. I know several parks are, even in the past 10 years of late, have torn out their top spins because they're just unreliable. Personally, I feel like Great America could get sick of this ride eventually, remove it for another flat ride, making it one of the third or fourth flat ride in its place. I know the looping starship that they used to have named Power Dive was in this spot. And they could remove this for another flat ride. Also, the crowds are bipolar. Sometimes the queue is a 45-minute wait. Other times, it's either a get-on, it's either a walk-on, or a one-cycle wait. But most of the time, it's down. Last time when I went to Great America, park was open, Raging Bull's a 45-minute wait, Goliath was an hour wait, Superman was a 30-minute wait, this thing was a one-cycle wait. Also, the men don't like this. I went on it once, I wanted to save my ability to reproduce, and I never went on it again. Not that many flat rides here are that good, to be honest. They installed Skyscreamer, maybe. I go on Justice League every time. But, really, none of the flat rides are that good for the thrill ones. I might go on Giant Drop, considering that I've conquered my fear of drop towers. Okay, get my opinion on this. We need to finish this up. The final entry is Condor. Husk Condor, Six Flags Great America has been non-functional for at least 3 seasons. It's operated less than half of my visits and had frequent issues in 2015. I was highly convinced that they were planning to remove that thing, but they finally got it back up as Birds of the Bayou for Fright Fest. So yeah, this thing rarely ever operates, and it doesn't really draw that many people if it does. So basically, I could see that they could tear this down any time now. And if they use the line wisely and have enough airspace or room to expand, you can even put a Sky Screamer in the area. Make it the third, name it Wonder Woman Lasso of Truth. Or Sky Screamer, and you can put a third superhero themed attraction in the area. I mean, honestly. I really just, I don't know why they keep this thing. I don't know how it's still standing after 2015. I think this year it's had slightly better rates, and did operate consistently as Birds of the Bayou. I've heard it's been up for quite a while, but now. But then again, my visits this season have been a lot less than last season, so I haven't been able to gather as much evidence and data and research. It's a good trade to get rid of this thing for a Sky Screamer if they can fit it. And this thing has a lot of airspace, so they might need to make the station a bit bigger, but that's about it. That might have the radius of a Sky Screamer. Sure, they can't install anything over 310 feet due to their height limit, and if they want to go above 150 feet, they need to consult the village of Gurnee. They need to talk to the Gurnee State Department. That's how they got Raging Bull, Giant Drop. That's how they got those up. So, as always, guys, hope you've enjoyed the video. Feel free to be active on the video. Leave your thoughts. I'd like to see what you think is going to be removed. What could possibly go next year, or if next year's going to be off year. I'd like to hear your debates. I'd like to hear what goes on here. And as always, enjoy the rest of your day. And as always, peace.